Hey guys, Brandon Wren here, the Nashville Bassist, coming to you with a new video. Today we're going to be doing a review of this little piece of gear right here, the Avalon U5, so let's get into it. Alright guys, so the Avalon U5, it is an industry standard. You will find this in virtually every studio across Nashville, LA, wherever you record, you're probably going to run into one of these and see it, if not record through it. These things are amazing, and like I said, they are an industry standard, and they are for a very good reason. They sound phenomenal. These things are very well known for their clean tones. They've got tons of headroom, but from low volumes to high volumes, they stay super clean, super punchy. It is packed full of tones and very usable tones, but we're going to show you some of the tones, go over some of the features, and just kind of walk you through the unit and kind of let you see why this thing is an industry standard. So my first experience with the Avalon U5, I'd seen them around but didn't really know much about them, but I had a front of house guy that kept talking these up to me and trying to get me to buy one of these to put in my live rig. And I was like, yeah, okay, but really didn't think much about it. But we ended up doing a show, a promo for an album that the artist I was playing for at the time was putting out. And we did one of the morning shows, I believe it was Fox and Friends. And they had one of these backlined for me. And the moment I plugged into this, I knew I had to have one. It sounded incredible. Now, it was a couple months until I was able to get my hands on one of these, but between playing it on Fox and Friends and actually getting one, I started noticing these things in so many people's rigs. Michael Rhodes, rest in peace to Michael Rhodes, the legendary bass player out of Nashville. What a legend. We lost him a couple years ago now. But I saw this in a couple of his rigs, both live and studio. And I just started seeing it pop up a lot of different places. I noticed when I was watching some of the DVDs from the Eric Clapton Crossroads Festival, some of the bass rigs on stage had these in them. And so I started thinking, yeah, I've definitely got to get one of these. And I finally got my hands on one, and I haven't looked back. This is the tone I've been chasing for so many years. Now, as bass players, especially studio bass players, we need to have a lot of tones and a lot of things in our arsenal available to us. But as far as just my basic, clean, punchy tone, this is it. It gets the job done. And like I said, it gives me those tones that I've been chasing for so long. It is an industry standard for a reason, and I think you're going to be able to see that in this video. Hopefully I can do it justice. So let's go ahead and jump into some close-up shots, and then we'll give you some tones and let you hear it. All right, guys, so here's the unit, and we'll go through all the different features, and we'll start right over here. If you notice, this dial is labeled Boost. This gives you up to 30 dB. Now, it actually goes up to 32 because the starting point is +2. I'm not sure why exactly it starts at +2, but that's where it starts on this unit. So it starts at +2 and goes all the way up to +32. So it does give you up to 30 dB more, but like I said, it starts at 2 and ends at 32. So for every click, every time you turn this dial, it gives you +3 dB. And these knobs are some of the best knobs, maybe the best knobs of any piece of gear I have ever used. They are super solid. I feel like if I were to pull this knob off, it would feel like it weighed about 10 pounds. That's how solid this feels. And you can hear the click. You can hear it here. Just super, super solid. Gives you a lot of feedback, lets you know where you're at. Fantastic build quality on this unit. Absolutely fantastic. So like I said, up to 32 dB, and every notch is +3. Below that, we've got a high cut. And believe it or not, I use this more than I thought I would. In fact, I have it on a lot. I like the way that it sits with the bass. Obviously, it cuts some of the highs, kind of tames that, gives you a little bit more of a round tone, a little bit warmer. I really like what it does. And I'm actually very surprised how much I've used that high cut. It works fantastically, and I love that they gave that to us as a feature. So next to that, we've got this button. If you'll notice, it's labeled speaker, and it says to input. When you push this in, it goes to a speaker out on the back of the unit, so you can run a speaker with this. So that's really cool. So in order to use that output on the back, you'll need to engage this switch right here. Excuse me, guys. Allergies are really getting to me. All right. Next, we've got our high Z input. Pretty self-explanatory. Next to that is our through or out. You can use this as a through, or you can use this as an output. If you want to use it as an output, you're going to have to engage this little active to through switch right here. So when you've got that engaged, it makes this an output. So you've got a 1/4 inch out here on the front. Obviously, if it's disengaged, then this acts as a through. I've used this through quite a bit, and it's very clean. You don't get any coloring from the box. The bypass is nice, so you can still keep the tone of whatever you're using in conjunction with this through the through. Above it, we've got this knob here, and this is our tone section. If you notice, tone shape. This gives us 6 different tone presets, and they are all fantastic. You think about presets, and it's like, well, that's all it gives me. I don't have any fine tuning if I need it. But from my experience, you don't need it. Every preset on here is super usable. Now, for bass guitar, 1 through 3, I find are the best presets, 2 being kind of the favorite. It's the one that stood out to me, and after talking to other people and doing research, that seems to be the channel that people use the most for bass. But 1 through 3 are all fantastic on bass. They give you some different characteristics. And at the same time, they give you kind of some similar characteristics. I've used the number 4 before, but it's fairly bright and hot. If I was going for more of a just real higher end rock tone, I might use 4. But it's probably just a little too bright for anything that I feel that I would do. But like I said, I have used it before, but generally 1 through 3 on bass is where I'm going to land, with number 2 being probably 95% of the time. Now, this unit, like I said, it's not just for bass. You can use it with a lot of different instruments. It's great on acoustic guitars, a lot of different things. And each preset, depending on what instrument you're playing, some presets are better for specific instruments. So you have to find which one works best for you. But like I said, for bass guitar, 1, 2, or 3, I think are going to get you pretty much anything you need, with 2 being, in my opinion, the ultimate tone. It sounds amazing. To engage your tone section, you will have to push this button here labeled tone. When that's on, you have access to the tone shaping. If it's off, it's just going to run through like you're using this as a direct box without any type of tone shaping. And that's pretty much all there is to the unit. On the back of the unit, we won't get back there to show you, but I'll just describe what's on the back. You've got a ground lift switch. You've actually got a headphone output. So if you want to plug some phones into it, you can do that. You've got the speaker output. There again, that goes with this button right here. So you got speaker output on the back there. You've got 2 balanced XLR outputs. One is instrument level, one is line level. And then you've got your power section where you would plug an IEC cable in to power this bad boy up. And that's really all you got on the back. And this thing is a half rack wide. So depending on how you want to set it up right now, I've got ears on each side. So this sits in the middle of my rack, but it does take up half of a rack from side to side. So you can set it up to be to one side or the other, or you can get these bigger ears and have it in the center like I've got it here. It's a very long unit. It's about twice as long as it is wide here. So it is the full length of a normal rack. And it's a fairly heavy unit for the size. I mean, it's not crazy heavy, but you know, it's got some heft to it. And these rack ears are super, super sturdy because it is a heavier unit and has so much weight on the back of it being so long. So you'll want some good rack ears if you're going to put this into a rack like this. It does come with some rubber feet on the bottom. I believe I took those off. I still have them if I want to put them on. But I took them off to make it fit in my rack a little bit better. But it does have some rubber feet if you want to use it on a tabletop or set it on top of an amp or whatever you want to do with it. But this is an incredible unit, guys. Like I said, it's fantastic. It really is. This thing is amazing. I would put this up there with pretty much any studio pre. It just absolutely sounds incredible. I've played through a lot of different pre's. I have a lot of different pre's, but this is kind of my go-to. Unless I'm just really going after more of a specific tone. If I've got a producer or somebody that, you know, wants like a 1073 sound, you know, then I can use whatever I've got for 1073 on that. You know, different things like that. But more times than not, anybody that I've ever played for, producers, artists, whatever, they've all liked the sound of it. It's been great. There hasn't been any issues with, well, let's go with something else. But you do have those people out there that want a specific thing, and you may have to provide that specific thing. But I would say, you know, if you have a unit like this, unless somebody just requests something different, you're going to be able to play 100% of everything you're trying to do through this unit. It's absolutely incredible. You can throw this in with a power amp and use this with a cab, which if I ever go back to a cabinet, that's probably what I'll do. I'll pair this up with a power amp and just use this because it gives me that clean tone that I want, and then I can use the bells and whistles on my pedal board to go through this. So that's the way that I would do it personally. But you can pair this up with an amp, with just a power amp, however you want to do it. It's absolutely incredible. You can use it as just a DI. I've toured with this. I've used this as my flight rig where I had just this and a tuner pedal. It gets the job done and it sounds fantastic. So you can use these a lot of different applications. Obviously, it is built and geared more towards studio. But like I said, I've seen this in so many people's live rigs out on the road. It's just incredible. So let's go ahead and jump into it and give you some of the tones and let you just hear why this box is, there again, an industry standard. So for our tones and sounds today, I'm going to be playing a few different basses. We'll be playing a 60s jazz bass. I'll also be playing my 5-string PRS Granger passive active bass. And then I'll play one of my Spectres to give you some different tones so we can give you a lot of different options and let you hear what it does with different instruments. On all my basses, the strings are worn in. They're not dead. I don't like dead strings unless I'm going for a specific sound with like a passive bass, like a P bass or something. I do like fresh strings, but today's strings are not super fresh, but they're not super old either. So they're kind of right there in the middle. They still got a little zing, a little pop to them without being dead. So, but they're also not super bright. So I think that'll work out great for today. So here we go. All right, guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope I gave you some good tones and let you kind of hear what the Avalon is like. I don't think I told you my signal chain today. It's very simple. I'm going straight into the Avalon, then straight into my little mixer, which goes into my phone. It's not the best mixer in the world, but it's the only one I have that goes directly to my camera on my phone. So that's the Avalon U5. Like I said, I think it sounds great. You know, I wish I kind of had some fresh strings on some of these basses today, especially the active ones, to let you hear just how crystal clear this thing can be, but it still sounded fantastic anyway. So that's it for today's video, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for more content. I'm going to be doing, let's see, I'm going to be doing a review on a couple other pieces of gear, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys later.